What is good? Thank you for tuning in for the latest episode of the Rice Crypto Show. And joining me today is CryptoStache. He is a fellow content creator, and I wanted to bring him on because his content recently has been specializing in blockchain gaming and NFTs. I'm going to have links down below for everything we talk about in today's episode, including CryptoStache's YouTube channel, which I encourage you to check out. If this happens to be your first time ever watching any of my videos, I do encourage you to explore my channel. Make sure you subscribe, smash that like button, hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date with my videos as they come out. I encourage everyone to check out my Patreon channel where I post up exclusive content and it's a way to support what I do directly. Follow me on LBRY where I post up extra videos, and also check out my brand new podcast. I have an exclusive audio podcast hosted on anchor.fm at Rice Radio, and I'm going to have select episodes of the Rice Crypto YouTube channel being put in audio form as well. You can find me on every major podcasting platform such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts at Rice Radio. Links will be down below for everything we talk about, and we're just going to go ahead and get right into today's show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, joining me is fellow content creator CryptoStache, who I'm just going to call Stache. What's going on, my man?
What's going on, Rice? Man, yeah, thank you so much for having me here, dude.
No, I appreciate you taking it, accepting my invitation, because this has been kind of a long time coming. We've been talking about it, and it's hard to connect sometimes with all of our schedules being so crazy. And so here we are, and we're making it happen. And the reason I wanted to bring you on the show was not only just to get to know you better, introduce you to my audience, but also talk about some of the things that before we started, that we mentioned that you're kind of specializing in with the blockchain gaming and NFTs. But you're not limited to such, but and we'll get into that. But before we start, do you mind kind of giving a little background on who Stache is and how you ultimately got involved in cryptocurrency?
Wait, cryptocurrency. This is not a mustache podcast. This is not about Facebook. Am I on the wrong?
I thought about getting one of those little fake mustaches just for this.
I would have loved that, man.
I love your stash, though.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, just crypto. I'm sorry. What was the question? I got distracted by pamping my own mustache. What was the question?
How did you get involved in crypto?
How did I get involved?
How'd you get involved in Bitcoin and altcoins?
The mustache made me do it, man. It was all his fault. Damn you.
It has a mind of its own.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely has a mind of its own, man. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night trying to grab some water, like some snacks. I'm like, what are you doing? Get that out of here. But yeah, how did I get in crypto? So I'm a tech guy. I've worked in the tech industry here for quite some time, well over a decade. And, I actually first saw Bitcoin in 2012. And I was like, it was like through, I think maybe it was a Reddit post, or was it's just random news article post. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like digital gold, Bitcoin, that's cool. And so I followed a link to the site where apparently you could go buy Bitcoin. And then I got to the site, and it's like you could also buy Litecoin and some other like Namecoin or something. And I was like, what? This looks stupid. This is definitely a scam. I go, why is there more than one? That doesn't even make sense. This is just like something really, something I don't really want to be a part of. Like clearly is a scam. That was 2012. And so then maybe like a year later or so, 2013, I was exposed to it again, and I was like, you know what? This article is actually a lot more thorough. It mentions a lot more things that are more interesting to me. And that's when I went and just read the white paper, because it linked to the original Satoshi white paper. And I was like, oh, wow. After I read the whole thing, I was like, this actually is a big deal. I can't believe I didn't really dive in enough when I first saw and because it was one of those off the cuff things, it was just like,
yeah,
look, this link, that's interesting. And but it didn't, that the website that I went to didn't do a good enough job, I think, of kind of describing any of those things. It didn't, say anything about the ethos of Bitcoin. And that's a really big part of what is the core of this cryptocurrency community, and Bitcoin itself is really why it was created and how it was created, and in response to what. I was actually, 2008 actually really hit me pretty hard, that financial crisis. I had to completely change career paths because of that. And so, you know, I once I read that white paper, you know, in 2013, it just kind of clicked for me, and I was like, I got to get in. I have got to get in. So I watched the markets before I didn't FOMO in, man. I was actually pretty proud of myself. Now looking back, I didn't FOMO in too hard. I watched the markets for a little bit. I talked to the one buddy that I knew who had, you know, had any kind of idea of crypto and Bitcoin. My buddy Rye, who he's in Hawaii. And we've done some Bitcoin and crypto videos and stuff in the past. But you know, I talked to him about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, check out this site called Coinbase." And so that's where I bought my very first Bitcoin, was on Coinbase just as the beginning of 2014. So
do you remember the price?
I do. Yeah, it was like $600, I think is what it was.
Okay.
It was about $600. And so this was right before Mount Gox.
Right. And then there was like a crash right after that.
And it crashed right after that. And I was like, oh man, clearly I made a bad decision. Dang it. But no, I didn't really think too much about it. I was like, you know, I was kind of long-term holding it anyways. It gave me enough to get in the game. You know, I bought, you know, some Bitcoin at the time, which was good. And I was just like, that's what I could afford. And I bought, you know, as much as I could. And then, you know, I just sat on it for like 2 years until 2016. And that's when I came back into things. And, you know, I saw that so much had happened. Ethereum had happened. And that's what really, you know, Ethereum, and some, you know, seeing how the ecosystem had kind of blossomed, you know, because I followed Bitcoin, but very loosely during those years, you know, not too much. And the rest is history, man. Then I created a website because people started asking me about it, or I started trying to tell people about it and they didn't want to hear. And I was like, well, I'll go write my stuff down, because I was getting, you know, I started getting some questions, and it was just kind of repetitive. And I was like, oh, I'll just start like a simple blog. It won't take up much of my time, I'm sure. I'll just...
You do web design though, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. So I run a web development company. That's my main gig.
Long Beach web design.
That's right. Yeah, Long Beach web design, man. And so I don't do crypto full time, you know, versus maybe a lot of the other content creators that are out there that you see, you know, popular ones. Some, you know, a lot of friends, you yourself. Like, there's so many people out there that are doing it, and I try and get it in when I can, and make content when I can. I have some extra time, so. It can be difficult with a full-time job, right? Like running a whole other business.
Right. No, I feel you. But I mean, also too, that brings like more sincerity and genuineness to your content as well. I mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on, because I feel like you're one of the few people who are in this for the right reasons, and you're not shilling stuff for the sake of shilling. You know, I mean, you're like me. If you do get offered paid content, I'm sure it's something that you're going to cover for free, that you're making sure that it's not going to be detrimental to the people that are subscribing to you just for the sake of getting paid. So, I mean, I get it, man. And I appreciate that. And I'm assuming that based off kind of what you have said, you know, leading up to now, that the reason you started your YouTube channel was so that you could help with the education factor and simplify this for people. Would that be correct?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I started the website first. So I was writing in crypto for well over a year before I actually started YouTube. I missed the whole YouTube trend because I started the website at the beginning. Well, I got the idea at the end of 2016, and I officially like started the website and started getting ideas going on the beginning of 2017. And so that's when I really started doing it. And so I wrote for almost a whole year before I started a YouTube channel. And I actually was doing in-person classes in my city. So I was holding in-person classes, mostly focused at, you know, an older demographic. So usually like a 40+ crowd, because I realized like these people really do need the most help. They're the least technical in this kind of sense. And there's people who were actually really wanting to have this information, but, you know, just needed a helping hand, and really they don't maybe learn as well through videos or online resources and stuff. So I did that, you know, during 2017. I missed kind of the YouTube bull run of crypto in the end of 2017. I wish I had a channel at that point. I'm sure it would be a lot bigger by now, but
I started mine January of 2018.
Yeah, right. So I started mine, I think it was May of 2018 is when I started mine. And you know, funny enough, I had a YouTube channel for for CryptoStache before then, but I didn't put any videos out. What I actually did was I took the course that I was doing in person, and I turned it into a video course. So I used the videos from my in-person presentation, mixed it with my you know, actual digital presentation, and then I was offering that on my website for a very low fee. It was like $15. Like, here, come $15, beginner's crash course into Bitcoin, will help you get started. And I had that hosted on my YouTube, and that was the only thing that I had there. And I wasn't even on Twitter. I wasn't on Twitter. I was on any other social media. I was literally just writing and I had just started it was mostly in-person stuff. And so then I got on Twitter like the end of 2017. And I mean, I had a Twitter account, but I wasn't really like engaged in the community. And then when I found, you know, some like-minded people in the community, my content creator group, the Satoshi Droppers, that's when I think, you know, that's when I really started pushing my social media. And then I got on YouTube in May of 2018 and have just kind of been pushing channels and, you know, talking with people and having fun and really, you know, making great connections. I've met so many amazing friends that I truly will call friends now in this space, man. And, you know, I count you among those, even though I know we haven't done this, but
I mean, we've seen each other quite a few times. And I mean, I agree. When you have somebody who have that common bond for the greater good, it brings people together in a way that you wouldn't have that connection with other people. So I totally understand what you're saying, man.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about crypto is, you know, going to these conferences, meeting people in real life, or a lot of times even online. Sometimes it's a little rough online with all these crazy avatars and anons out there that are
the trolls.
But the offline stuff I love because you're right. You know, you go to these conferences and people that are there are, you know, we're so early. They have a very similar mindset. So you can talk with these people and they're approachable, even large CEOs of some of your favorite companies.
Yeah.
We're all on the same wavelength, which I just truly love. And, you know, I've been in a lot of different communities. I'm a musician.
Me too.
You know, so I've been in the music community here for very long, in entertainment for like 20 years. And so even in all these different industries that I've been in, I've never felt the kind of connection instantly with people in crypto, like in any other, you know, communities.
I agree.
So
I agree because I mean, you're walking around these conferences, and I mean, you might have Max Kaiser speaking, and he's just chilling with everybody. Anthony Pompliano, Paul Pewey from Edge, Alex Mashinsky. He's probably one of the most sociable people, you know, and he's done so many things that, you know, he could, you know, he doesn't need to hang out with us lowly people. But you know, I get it, man. And that's one of the things that I do like about it, because I think that most of the people that are into the cryptocurrency space that aren't in it for the gains or in it for that revolution, creative destruction. And us as content creators, you know, we all have a role to play in the mass adoption and bringing awareness and education. And speaking of education, I know, you know, we talked about your channel being focused on some educational stuff.
Yeah.
You also do news, reviews, interviews, but you've been focusing a lot more lately, especially this year, on blockchain gaming and NFTs. And I've got a lot of new people watching my content. I'm actually getting a little bit out of the crypto echo chamber since I branched out. And so I'm trying to go back to the beginning, simplifying the education part of what crypto is. And we both had done something Saturday for Bad Crypto with their project Blockchain Heroes.
Yeah.
And I tried my best to explain NFTs as what, you know, non-fungible tokens, but from somebody who covers this on a more regular basis that I would consider to be more specialized in NFTs and blockchain gaming. Can you explain what NFTs are and what some of the different use cases that they can present?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And, you know, when you talk about crypto, just explaining crypto to somebody is hard, but then you're like, NFT, what?
Right.
The NFT thing just kind of blows people's minds a lot of times, because you do have to have, you know, some knowledge already before you can really, I think, grasp kind of what they are in the technical aspect. But, you know, to put it really simply, and this is how I put it to a lot of people, is they're essentially just digital collectibles. So, you know, people love collectibles. People have been collecting things for a very long time. Baseball cards, comics, you know, shoes, all kinds of crazy stuff people collect, man. You know, these weird, crazy porcelain dolls that are super freaky that people put around their house. People collect things. And so the idea of having a collection of something is not new. And then also the idea of something being rare is also not new. You know, you have this signed baseball by Babe Ruth, you know, that's rare. You know that there's only so many of these out there, and you know it's worth big money. And so people like to collect these. They like to trade these. So and so, maybe they make a profit, maybe not, whatever. Maybe they just want it in their, you know, sweet collection there. So, you know, in an NFT, which, you know, non-fungible token is like a horrible name, right? In general, it describes more of what it is versus really, you know, like the technical aspect of what it is versus what it could really be. But so that's why I like to call them like digital collectibles a lot of times. And so you can look at it as like a digital baseball card. Now, in respect, it has a lot more utility, so you could do a lot of more different things with them than you could with a physical item. Physical items have limitations, right? One of the limitations, and I know this as being a collector because I have a massive collection of cards and of comics, is that they weather over time. No matter how well you try and protect those things,
just paper ages.
Exactly, man. So you got to take very big steps to keep them in mint condition or really fine condition over a long period of time, and so that's a real concern. So that is a concern. Then also the fact that forgeability of physical items is a lot easier, and that's one of the things that NFTs or these digital collectibles solve. So not only do they solve the fact that they're never going to deteriorate, right? They're never going to get messed up, or like you leave them in mom's garage and then you come back and there was water damage. You're like, they're never going to be something that could be counterfeit because they're on a blockchain, and blockchains, the various blockchains that power all the different NFTs across, the whole space, which is multiple chains, they help to secure that data and the information, so you can always check against it. So hey, no, this is not a signed Babe Ruth baseball card or what, because I can check it here in this blockchain. And you say, oh well, they have some services like that for physical collectibles. Maybe you have a certificate or something, but to be perfectly honest,
they can be forged too, though.
Those things could be forged too, and they have been, especially for high dollar things.
Right.
The same thing that happens in art. So when you talk about things that are collectible, NFTs or digital collectibles have quite a bit of advantages over traditional collectibles. Not to even mention the fact that you can guarantee rarity of an item. You can guarantee there's only going to be 5 of these or only 1 of these. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times with physical stuff, that's not always necessarily the case. You don't know how many are out there. You can't guarantee the supply. So it makes it hard to be able to a lot of times assess value or know if you should be buying something. So, that's kind of what I would say is that, what are the differences and how do I explain it to new people is it's a digital collectible versus a physical one. Now, there's obviously a lot of technical stuff that goes on behind the scenes to make all that happen.
But that's a good explanation.
Yeah.
And, so when you talk about fungibility, you're talking about what I have is the same as what you have.
Right.
And so when you deal with a non-fungible token, these are tokens that may not have value, or the value may be something that somebody perceives, like with a comic book or baseball cards, because they really technically don't have any value unless somebody else is willing to pay what that value is worth. Otherwise, it's just more of, because I used to collect comic books and I kind of get that concept. Now, as far as the digital collectibles end, that has obviously been one of the first main use cases with NFTs. But with there's so many other possibilities too, that we can be doing, like reward points for people, so that you can be doing concert tickets. Imagine, we talk about counterfeiting art and counterfeiting documents. The concert industry gets tickets are counterfeited, scalping takes place. If we could take and put those on the blockchain and make that, but again, that's going to have to be where it's going to be such a seamless experience that you don't even realize what you're doing. So like when you purchase a ticket, instead of you getting the digital email ticket, you would just get the ticket sent to your cryptocurrency wallet. And then you would present that ticket at the gate or the door, and they would scan it. You get to keep your collector item. Because I used to like to keep my stubs from going to concerts. But
of course.
So there's so many different use cases. But like Crypto Kitties, Blockchain Heroes, Crypto Punks, these are like the kind of things that, for the digital collectibles in it. And I really like what Wax is doing with Tops and bringing back Garbage Pail Kids. I know you've covered that. So I definitely encourage people to check that out. And NFTs can also be used in blockchain gaming, which I think is really cool. I like the idea of items being turned into an NFT where they could be exchanged or brought through different gaming systems or different games. So you might be able to take an item from one game and bring it into another, or you can even just take that item out of the game and put it on a marketplace and sell it, which is amazing. Because I know that whenever I used to play games, you would have a rare item. All you really could do is just brag about having it. You really couldn't do anything with it. It was, you could sell your account, and I knew people that would do stuff like that. Yeah, but you couldn't just keep your character and sell your item. So I think it's that's really cool. So I'd like you've been doing a lot of coverage on blockchain games, and I'm going to try to do some coverage myself. Like I'm going to try to do something with Splinterlands. I've got some packs of cards. I need to do an unboxing or an opening of packs, whatever you call it. I was going to get Bozak to come on and try to explain to me exactly what Splinterlands was or is, because I used to play Magic the Gathering years ago. So I knew it had some similarity to that. But blockchain games, what do you think is important about what blockchain games represent for the future of gaming in general?
Yeah, I mean, personally, like I said, I've definitely, I've been a gamer for a long time, since I was 5 years old, man. I've played all the things, I've done all the things, and so I love video games, and seeing the evolution of where games have come from when I was a kid to where, you had to go buy the actual cartridge, right? Stick it in your Atari or load it into your Nintendo, or you got to blow it a little bit, stick it back in.
Yep.
Dang it, get in.
I've been there.
So we've come a long way from that till now. We have different formats of games where now they're free to play, or they have in-app purchases, and that's how you do it. Or they're you buy things in the store, and that's how they make money. And the whole free to play thing, is still fairly new when it comes to video games. Only like the last 15 or so years has it really taken off. Before that, it was like a subscription model. You had to pay per month for online games and things like that. And so we've seen this evolution, and I honestly feel that kind of the play to earn model and this blockchain based play to earn model is really the future of where gaming is going. The by far the best aspect, which you kind of already described, is the fact that as a gamer, I'll go into a game and maybe I'll spend $100, $200, $5,000. Not gonna lie, I've done it. Don't tell nobody that, especially my girlfriend. But the fact of the matter is you spend that money, and then maybe a couple of years later, you're not playing that game anymore. You're like, oh, I love this game. It was great, but I've moved on. I'm playing a different game now, or my friends are playing it, so I'm going here now. Well, what do?
Right.
Nothing. You can't do anything about it. You don't own those items. They're on a centralized server for that game. And unless
you can't refund it, you can't get your money back.
Unless you could sell them, and not, a lot of games really try and prohibit, these out aftermarket sales, like not having people sell things on on markets outside of the game. And it's been one of the things that a lot of games have struggled with. WoW, with these gold farmers who are just farming gold all day, and they're selling it online. And I think the approach has always been to try and deny this and code around it, so people are going to get banned or whatever it may be, because that's a toss in a lot of these games. It is that they say, hey, if you go and start doing this stuff or trying to sell things outside, then we could ban your account, and you could lose all those things, all that value you have there. So the best thing about blockchain gaming is it allows the ability for you to retain that value that you put in. You could, like you said, in the best case scenario, you take your weapons or your armor or whatever, your really cool items you found in one game, and you can then use them in another game, and then another game, and then another game. And it's building what we call the multiverse, right?
Right.
And if you've seen or read the Ready Player One book, a really great book, great, pretty good movie too. That's the kind of concept I think that we're heading towards, because it just makes sense for gamers. So when you talk about, the direction we're going, that's it. We're going to get there. When is it going to be? I don't know. It's starting now. But when are we going to get to like that level? I mean, maybe it will be, 2050 or 2060. Who knows? But in general, we're definitely going that direction. And we're starting to see the beginnings of that right now, with blockchain being able to facilitate your items going from game to game to game. And, maybe they have a different use case in that different game, or it looks a little, it plays a little bit different, or has a special ability that doesn't have in another game. But the fact of the matter is you can continue to bring that value with you from game to game. And that's, I would say, the best case scenario. At the very least right now, one of the best things about it is that you could then just take that and go sell it in a marketplace. Right. And instead of the game saying, no, don't go do that, we don't like that, we may ban you for it, they're encouraging it, and they incorporate it as part of their game. Yeah. And so I think that's really one of the best things about blockchain gaming, amongst the other things that it does give other people. But that really is the core right there. And that's what I really love, because I want to be able to take my value from game to game to game, or at least be able to sell it back to somebody in the marketplace that wants to. Like, otherwise, I definitely have game assets that are sitting in games that people would love to have, because they're rare, they're old, whatever, but I can't get rid of them. I can't sell them really. If I want to sell for in-game gold, like it doesn't really help me because I'm not playing anymore.
Right. No, I get it,
So,
dude. I
yeah.
mean, yeah, and it's really interesting when you think about all the things you mentioned and the fact that you can add the open sourceness part to it. Like,
Right.
I'm still trying to look into it, but things like Sandbox and what
Right.
Atari is going to be trying to do with their new system, like it seems like they're going to allow for the everyday person to be able to take code and create their own games without really knowing how to code. And I think that also is a really cool game changer because, I mean, there's a lot of education that's going to have to go into play. Even if you're copying and pasting things like that, you're still going to start to learn some things. And I think that's really important, that the open source nature, the ability of not having something censored, of combining the NFTs and allowing them to be transferred. It's pretty wild when you think about it. And I don't play games as much as I used to because I have an addictive personality, and I would literally be playing games all the time and I wouldn't be doing content.
I feel that. I struggle with that. I'm not gonna lie, man. There's days where I'm like, I know I should do a video today. Stache, you got to do that video today. And I'm like, oh, but I want to get this accomplishment in Fallout, or I need to go play Red Dead Redemption 2, or I'm playing Gods Unchained or some of my favorite blockchain games. So I feel you.
So before we wrap things up, man, I'd like to get your thoughts on, do you have a particular blockchain that you think is your favorite for the NFTs? Because I know you have Engine, we have Ethereum, we have Wax. I don't know, like all the others, but is there one in particular that you like more than others?
That's a damn loaded question, Rice, man. Why are you going to put me on the spot like that, dude?
You don't have to answer it. You can choose not. You can just say, I like them all the above. Yes.
I like them all.
I know, because I know you've created your own NFTs.
I do.
And I know that you've created NFTs, that you're agnostic as far as you've created NFTs on a lot of different blockchains. But is there one that you prefer? Is there one that's made it really easy that, just kind of so far seems to be kind of at the top of the game?
Yeah. So here's my kind of quick take on that. Ethereum has been the top dog. They obviously pioneered the whole, build on our blockchain kind of ecosystem. They had first mover advantage. They have some of the best games and dApps built on top of their network. But obviously they're not the only player in town. Now, up until the last few months, things have been going well with Ethereum-based games, but the transaction fees have been crushing.
Yeah,
straight crushing all of these really like great indie games and people who, these developers who don't have a ton of money, but now they're competing against all these stupid yield farmers who are screwing up our blockchain gaming. And the markets have gone down because people are, they don't want to pay a $5 transaction for a $2 item.
Right.
And so, we're having an issue here, and we really need ETH 2.0 to come, or some sort of scaling solution. And, multiple games that are based on Ethereum are working on their own solutions. So the NFTs are not going to be like that situation. I've obviously been a big fan of Engine here since they launched. I bought in their ICO, and I actually was using Engine as a company before they even got into blockchain. They were a company that allowed you to create your own guild website for free using their tools on their website, through the thing. So I created one of my in-game guilds websites using that platform, even though I could have created it myself, but and so then when I saw they got into blockchain, I was like, oh, that's really great.
Okay.
So that's where I started creating NFTs to begin with, was on the Engine platform, which is an Ethereum-based, system. And I actually had the very first NFT ever that was created for a content creator ever. So I issued through Engine, and it was kind of a different thing because, up until then, really only developers, people who were actively developing games, were creating any NFTs on their own.
Right.
So you talk about we could say, CryptoKitties was really what kicked things off, right? But outside of teams actually, development teams actually creating these things, no one was really creating them. And so the first NFT that I did in collaboration with Engine, and it went successful. And I was like, wow, this is great. Let's do more. And we did. And I've collaborated with them numerous times. So I love the Engine ecosystem of what they've done there, because it's fairly unique when it comes to NFTs. Each one of their NFTs is actually backed with cryptocurrency in it. And it could be one engine, or it could be 200 engine, or whatever it may be. So they do have an inherent value in all of them. which is kind of cool in contrast to some others. Now, when we talk about what's been going on right now recently, I've also been a big proponent of Wax. So I was also, when Wax came out, I was like, man, this is a great project too. I can totally see how both of these, don't necessarily compete, but they both have some similarities. And so I've been in the Wax community for the last 3 years, and I've also worked with them, and they've done an amazing job bringing NFTs here recently, especially really good mainstream IPs like Garbage Pail Kids, which has been so fun to collect and to trade. And they just did William Shatner cards, which, if you love the Shatner, I'm a big Star Trekky kind of fan. And so it was really cool to do these things. And so now we've seen some successive ones, like we mentioned Blockchain Heroes, which just launched this weekend. So, I think Wax has a really good handle on, what some of the pain points were with what was going on in Ethereum, and they pivoted really well. They used EOS technology to create their own chain, and they've been, just crushing it here lately with all these really great projects coming out on them. I actually have a project built on Wax, which is in closed beta right now, and I'm going to be working on another one here pretty soon, which I can't really talk about, but because it's in the early stages, but it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be a game kind of based thing. So very excited about that.
Definitely keep me in the loop about that. I've got, apparently it just started like raining like cats and dogs outside. I don't know if you can hear it coming through my microphone.
No.
Yeah, it's just like a bottom dropped out. The last question I wanted to ask you is in regards to just cryptocurrency. I mean, whether it's gaming or NFTs or anything like that, what are you excited about? Any projects, anything coming up that you want to talk about before we wrap things up?
Yeah, as far as the expanding stuff, like cool things coming up, I was really excited with Flow Blockchain with their launch of NBA Top Shots, which is a NFT that shows some of the coolest moments from the NBA. So that sweet slam dunk that somebody had, or that really great steal, and their animated cards, like they show the actual video. So I thought that was really novel, and they did a really good job launching that, and it's just getting started. So I'm actually kind of excited where that's going. And there's a bunch of games that have been in development, like the engine ecosystem has fostered a lot of these games, but game development takes a long time. So some of these bigger, more closer to AAA games are getting ready to launch here more towards the end of the year. And like I said, I'm also working on a couple of my own projects, which I'm pretty excited about. And I wish I could talk more about them, but I can't let the cat out the bag just yet.
No, you're good. But when you're ready to let it out,
I'll let it come back and
hit me up. Let me know.
Yeah.
And,
so
and whatever you have, the closed beta testing thing, like let me know what that is, and maybe I could possibly check it out because I'm just.
Oh no, for sure, man. I'll definitely get you on that. So when we look at like I really feel that the blockchain gaming space is at the point now where DeFi was maybe like a year or so ago, and I think it's primed. I really truly believe that it's primed to be the biggest breakout here in cryptocurrency. Whereas we see DeFi and everyone's like, DeFi, everyone's making money, it's crazy. There's still really not that many people using it. It's still really just the crypto community. But gaming has the ability to break out outside of cryptocurrency to be the largest driver of cryptocurrency adoption worldwide. I 100% believe that. I believe that since the beginning, since the very first time I played a game on any blockchain. And I know for sure that is going to happen. So that's really what I'm excited about. I want to get to a point where, we're getting outside of our system. We're bringing in new people, and it's a seamless, transition like you were talking about, where it's just a better experience. And that's why they want to use it. Not necessarily because it's blockchain or because it's crypto. It's better.
No, I agree. And I think that between gaming and NFTs and simplifying it to where people don't even realize, I think that those two things are definitely going to be two of the main drivers to mass adoption and education. Because once you start collecting these things and you start realizing that this is a cryptocurrency, then you're like, wow, this isn't as hard as I thought it would be. I could actually. And so I think that it's kind of, it's almost like a gateway drug, if you want to look at it like that. So, but yeah, dude, I would definitely like to have you back on, and just hang on one second. I want to wrap things up on this end. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have links down below for everything we talked about in today's episode. And I definitely encourage you to check out Stache's channel, CryptoStache. He's got some really cool content. And this is your first time ever watching any of my videos, I do encourage you to explore my channel. If you like what I'm doing, make sure you subscribe. I encourage you to share these videos. Check out my Patreon channel where I post up exclusive content, and it's a way to support what I do directly. And I also recently launched my content in podcast form. I have an exclusive audio podcast, and I'm taking select episodes from the Rice Crypto YouTube channel. And you can find that on anchor.fm at Rice Radio and every major podcasting platform like Spotify, Apple Podcasts at Rice Radio. And as always, I encourage you to be the change by practicing change.